So I decided to wait until I leave the US and get back to Gambia, inshallah, to make the video for you guys. One of the most common questions that I'm getting right now is why I keep on traveling to America for different healthcare needs. So I'm working on putting that video together for you guys, but I decided that I'm actually not going to make that video from here. Inshallah, I'm going to wait until I get back to Gambia, just because I feel like I don't want people to think that I'm saying certain things just because I am in America right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna travel back and then I will release the video answering certain questions that you guys have. And if you're in the process of making your transition to move to Gambia and you are not focusing on starting a business, I'm gonna say that the focus is in the wrong area. The focus is in the wrong area. So while you're in America, for those that are in America that are planning on move to Gambia, while you're in America and you have top-notch internet, quick, high-speed internet, and you have resources and even free resources, a ton of libraries, workshops you can attend, and you almost have everything that you need at your fingertips, saying don't just save up a bunch of money and move to the continent. That's not the way to do it, especially if you don't have an action plan, you don't have anything in place over there, wherever it is, whether Gambia or any other place. You don't have anything, you haven't been there to visit, you haven't taken steps to start up a business. Americans are used to doing things the American way, the way that gets us by over here in the US. But when you get to another country and things are operated differently in that country, you're gonna find yourself pulling off of that savings. The savings that you think you're going to be able to save, you're going to be able to spend. I mean, you're going to end up spending. You're going to end up spending most of it. Even if you have bought your land already, you have building going on, okay, you're going to have expenses that's going on that are going to be unexpected with the building. It's almost like, okay, it's almost like with everything you do, you have to expect something to go wrong. That's just the easiest way that I can explain it. It's not being negative, it's just being honest about how it is. And you guys know how I feel about Gambia. I love Gambia. I love being there, but a lot of things go wrong for foreigners. A lot of things go wrong for Gambians, but they're able to bounce back from it. They're used to it. It's their country. It's their way of life. And they also they're expecting to run into certain problems. We don't expect to run into certain problems because, for one, we move over there with we're blinded. We're blinded with this. It's like you have. A lot of especially American Muslims, okay, have this unexpected, unrealistic expectations of moving to a Muslim country where you're just so willing to trust. It's like you're looking at the adab and the mannerism of the people, and they're so soft-spoken, and they're so kind, and they're generous, and they're willing to help you. They'll give you the shirt off their back. They'll let you come into their homes. They'll feed you, all of that. So when we're not used to that, living in America, and then you move to a country and it's like that, and you're dealing with other Muslims, it causes American Muslims to put their guard down, and then they trust very easily. And you have to realize that although these are Muslims, you're dealing with Muslims, you're in a Muslim country, we're all human. And no matter what country you move to, there is going to be some level of corruption. Since you don't know the level of corruption or what kind of corruption that's there in Gambia, and people like me cannot sit here on the internet and just tell you everything that's wrong with Gambia. You guys have to realize that other countries don't have that freedom of speech that we have in America, where you can sit on the internet and just say whatever you want to say, do whatever you want to do, insult whoever you want to insult. You can't go to a foreign country and do that without certain consequences. And for myself, I'm not going to sit on the internet talking about everything that's wrong, every bad experience I ever had with Gambia, and I'm going to feel safe and comfortable in my house with my husband not being there half of the time because he's traveling to America for work. So you guys have to realize that we make these, we have these channels and we make these videos, and we're trying to be helpful and we're trying to share our authentic journey, but at the same time, the sharing is not going to be 100% authentic, because there are things that we cannot say, there are things that we cannot share, there are things that are unsafe for us to put out there on the internet, there are things that are vulnerable and uncomfortable to talk about. So we're basically sharing at the capacity that is comfortable, you know, for the person that has the channel. And then the rest is left up to the viewer to come to the country and experience things for themselves. But while you're doing that, your guard is, like I'm telling you, especially if you're Muslim, you come to a Muslim country, you have to keep that guard up. Whatever you wouldn't do in America, don't do it over there. As far as dealings with people, as far as having trust too quickly, it's trusting a stranger, you know, with your money, with your, just, yeah. You have to hold on to that. You know, if we put into practice all of the things that we learned how to deal with and how to survive in America, how to not get scammed, you know, how to, yeah, if we put all those things into practice whenever we go to the continent, then American Muslims, I'll say, you know, would be in a better, Americans in general, but especially American Muslims would be in a better position, because yeah, we feel all warm and fuzzy and in love with the idea of, oh, I'm living amongst all Muslims, like we're all one big family. We're supposed to be. Okay, but that's not necessarily the reality of it. So the thing about it is, I got a little bit off topic, but yeah, so if you're in America and you're planning your trip and you're planning your move and you're saying, especially if you have some time, if you're not planning on moving before 2 years, or, you know, you have time to actually start a business. You have online businesses you can start. You may not be able to start a business. I wouldn't even recommend it. You starting a business in Gambia and you're in America, unless you have, you know, a brother or a sister or some extremely close relative that's over there that can run it for you. If not, you might want to just hold off on that until you get over there, because there's just too much to learn, and there are too many mistakes to be made that are nearly impossible to avoid if you're not there to see everything. But if you're American and you're in America and you have so many resources and you're still saying, I've never had a business before, I don't know how to start a business, that is where I would say start any kind of business. Any kind of business you can start, even if it's from home. You don't have to have like a physical location. You know, in this day and time, that's not even like the physical locations. Those take too much time. It takes too long for you to start bringing in enough revenue that you can even live off of. The most successful businesses in this time, 2024, are the quickest growing businesses, I'll say, are online businesses. What can you do online? What experience do you have that you can package and sell to the world, that you can coach, you can train someone, you can teach them, you can get them, you can walk them through steps. If you're a teacher and you've always worked in the school place, can you start a tutoring service? If you can start a tutoring service, you can do that from home, online, video. You can have clients, you know, here in the US, and you're living in another country. So it has a lot to do with your mindset. But yeah, if you're saying I can't start a business in America, I'm just going to wait until I get to Gambia or Africa or wherever it is that you're planning on going, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage, you know. And if you're saying as an American, if you don't have the confidence of starting any kind of business in America, there's a high chance that you're not going to be successful doing that in a place that you're not familiar with, where all the odds are against you. And I'm not saying it's impossible, because I always have people saying, oh, well, you know, I did this and this person did that. And yeah, there's always going to be exceptions. But I'm saying for the most part, what happens is Americans that move from America that come to Gambia without a residual income and saved up money, most of them struggle. Most of them run out of money. A lot of them end up moving back to their home, whether it be the UK, America, wherever it is that they move from. A lot of them end up having to go back with the lessons that they learned. They have to regroup. They have to save up more money, and then come back and try it again, try it another way. I've heard story after story. There are stories about Americans, you know, buying land, having building done, unexpected expenses with the building, because the estimates are not done the way how estimates are done here in America. It's not the same. It's nothing the same. And a lot of times, you know, the person that's helping you build, they'll be telling you you need stuff, and you don't even understand what it is that you need. Everything is different. Everything is different. So yeah, there are Americans that have had to go back to where they moved to Gambia from, because their homes were promised to be done in a certain amount of time and it didn't happen, and they ran out of money. They spent all their money on Airbnb. They spent all their money on renting, food, expenses that they expected, you know, to be next to nothing, and it wiped out their savings, you know. So it's no joke. I would say if you're not able to start a business before you move, any kind of business, it can be small. I'm not even talking about a business where you're earning a full-time income from. And then you also have to take into consideration, you know, you coping with a type of stress that you've never had to deal with before. If you've never ran a business before, if you've never had to deal with workers, if you've never had your own clients, if you've never completely relied on self-employment and nothing, you don't have any other income outside of that, and you're only relying on the money that you're making for yourself. If you've never been in that position before, that is going to take time for you to be able to adapt to the stressors that come along with that. So if you're able to start up a very small mini version of what it is that you want to do in Gambia, just for the sake of practicing and gaining skills, you know, I would say if you have enough time to do that before moving, then it would really be in your best interest to take advantage of being in a place that's familiar to you, dealing with people that you know what's acceptable, what's unacceptable, and, you know, dealing with your own culture. If you're saying it's impossible, I can't do it in America, you're going to be in a world of surprise when you get to Gambia and you're starting from zero. You have no experience in any area, and it honestly, it's going to be your people skills, and it's going to be the way how you're able to, the tolerance level that you're going to need to have when you're in a foreign country. So it's better to exercise and even practice that while you're dealing with your own culture and your own people, because like I said, Americans, our patience is very thin, and that is what is a lot of times it just frustrates you, it will frustrate you, the things that happen that crazy things happen, you know. You're you're either gonna have to work by yourself and be there all the time, or you're going to need someone that you have known for a very long time there beside you, helping you if you can't always be there, watching your money and watching the business. And how are you going to have that unless you already have people in Gambia that you know? If you don't have that, it's going to take a great deal of trust for a stranger. And that is one of the biggest no-nos of moving, you know, to that country. So anyway, I say that to say, don't waste time while you're in the States. Take advantage of the resources that we have. Give yourself some experience to start testing out some of the ideas that you have in your head. If you're too scared to do that, you're setting yourself up to be at a disadvantage, because if you're coming to Gambia with nothing, or just with a savings, but you're having to live off of that savings, you don't have time to you're not going to have time to figure out how to gain enough confidence to approach a client. You need money. You're going to need to make money. You need to have all of that in place already. So even if you don't plan on this being a business that you're going to continue on with, I would say to practice your trial and error while you're in a familiar place, while you have so many resources at your fingertips, while the internet is working perfectly, because the internet does not work perfectly over in Gambia. If you're planning on having an online business, set it up, test it out while you have the opportunity to do that without so many frustrations, because a lot of times, even with Americans, a lot of times the frustrations of trying to set up, we're typically not people that have a lot of patience. So you're going to be working on your patience and experiencing and encountering things that you never in your life ever had to deal with before. And you're not even set up to cope with certain levels of stress, because we're so spoiled in America. And plus, not only just being spoiled, we have laws that are in place that are going to protect you from, certain frauds. You're going into a different world. So you're not going to have to worry about the problems you're currently dealing with, but you're going to have to worry about other things, So while you have the time to work on your business goals, your business ideas, actually put some of those things into action. Especially from a mother's perspective, I, alhamdulillah, am a mom of 9. I have 9 children, and I cannot imagine how frustrating it would be. My journey in Gambia would not be as peaceful and full of contentment and fulfillment if I had to be out here, hustling with trying to start up and run a business. It just wouldn't be the same. And we go through so much in America as mothers, where we are craving this healing journey when we arrive to the continent of Africa, and we want to be able to finally spend, that quality time with our children and heal from a lot of the different traumas, that take place in motherhood. It's why I worked so hard establishing business online, planting seeds, different seeds for business opportunities online, because I value nothing more than being a whole person, to be able to raise my children in the best version of myself. I've endured too much in America. I didn't move to Gambia to be under certain levels of stress. So I really emphasize this for women, for moms. Some of the things you could do to come up with a really great business idea is take a sheet of paper and a pen or a notebook and sit down with yourself. Ask yourself some of these questions. What do I do really well? What is something that you do really well that you have the potential of making money from? What do I do to help others that I could charge money for? What am I able to teach? Because if you're able to teach something, you're able to walk someone through the steps of how to accomplish something, you have the potential of creating an online course that you can sell and make a passive income from that. What would I do if I could choose a new career path? So sometimes you can start with that thing that's always been in you, something that you want to accomplish that you never just push yourself, to work towards. So I hope that you guys have found this video to be useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.